Hello and welcome to Bounding into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding into Comics. And I want to welcome you to episode 4 of our open chat, which we try and do every day during the week. Started last Friday, I believe. And we did one on Monday, Tuesday, and then this is our 4th one on Thursday. We will not have one tomorrow. I will be on baby duty. So there will not be one tomorrow, but we try and do these, like I said, every day of the week. We try and go for half an hour to an hour. Basically, it's an open forum to talk about what you guys want to talk about. It can be anything. Open forum, it's an open forum. There might be some topics I won't want to talk about, but it's pretty much open. So I see you got some folks already here in the chat. We got Lopter. He's now joking that he's going to jack the stream. He's not. Bunny with the keyboard has a question. He says, Trent, question. It's like that. I'm back in my old soccer days. People call me by my last name. But Bunny with the keyboard says, so much of this seems to argue if something is woke. If I write up an article and send it to you, would it have? Yeah, we do guest publishing. Yes. JF Trent at boundingintocomics.com. We do guest posts. Obviously, I'll review it if it's fit to be published. But we do guest posts. So yeah, if you have any, if you want to send us articles, for sure. Yeah, we do that. Bunny with the keyboard says, I define woke as when it's left-wing propaganda, especially at the detriment to a legitimate story. I think there's a little bit more to it. Yeah, having a left-wing propaganda is one thing, but I think woke is it's a hard thing to define. But it's like you're woke to something, right? You've waken up. You were asleep, and now you've woken up to this realization of whatever it is, and a lot of it is left-wing propaganda. Critical race theory is definitely a huge part of what I believe is woke. I think obviously a lot of feminism is woke. Intersectional feminism is super woke. So yeah, a lot of left-wing propaganda is definitely woke. But I think there's probably more to it than just that as well. I'd have to think about it a little bit more. Just off the top of my head, those are the things that kind of come to me when I think of wokeness. It's a lot of that critical race theory, intersectional feminism, third wave feminism. I would probably argue, I don't know. Those are probably the big two things that really stick out to me as woke. A lot of it is misandry, I guess you could also call it too. Putting down men, no matter what they look like. I think that's definitely woke as well. JDA wants to join in. Yeah, let me. We haven't had a guest on these open chats, but I'm open to it. So let me send that to you, or just what you got to say. Open for that. I gotta open up a tab here. Lopter, you always are talking about jacking the stream. That's not how you get on the stream. Hey, Alexander Vidakovich. Yeah, speaking of people who do guest posts, JDA has done a couple of guest posts for us on Bounding, so we do guest posts. So there's a perfect answer for you right there. I think it's written about 5 posts for us over a couple years. Dead, how's it going? Nice to see you. Yeah, I definitely so I think in our current terms, yes, I agree with you. Political propaganda. I do think that all of that critical race theory, third wave feminism, all of that stuff is definitely misandry, is definitely political propaganda meant to demoralize, divide, and ultimately destroy you, your family, and your friends. and the culture that you live in, the society that you live in. That's what it all is meant to do. So I definitely agree with you on that point. I guess what I was really I think there's also more to it than just like yeah, I guess what you're saying. So I'm sorry, I'm like just talking my way through this here. Like I'm really doing a bad job of it. I'm just bumbling about here. I think there's like so like when I guess because I think of some of this stuff, like you can think of it in different terms where it's not political propaganda, but at the same time it is all propaganda. I think that's kind of where I'm getting hung up on it. So I think I think your definition is fine that it's all political propaganda. I agree. I do agree with that. Bunny with Keyboard says I absolutely realize the review isn't a promise to publish. Well, wait until just anything you send it. Like my email's open. Hopefully I won't miss it. I do get a ton of emails every single day from press contacts. And a lot of it is just like marketing people trying to get me to use their products, and I just don't even look at it. That's why I think like if I'm looking at the email right now, let me pull it up. Got here one of my tabs. I have like 10,000. I have almost 11,000 unopened emails, and most of them are like people like trying to send me something to like buy a product, and I just don't even look at it. But I usually try if like someone sends me something, I usually try. Obviously, if it's like someone like I know, I usually try and read it. Stuff like that. So there's. Hey, what's up, John?
Hey, John, how you doing?
Doing well. We're doing these open chat discussions where I try and.
I'm just eating goldfish right now. Goldfish are a great product, and I recommend everybody purchase these. Speaking of marketing products, I have no sponsors. I don't know. I'm not sponsored by. I should be sponsored by Goldfish. So that'd be amazing.
Is that Kraft or is Pepperidge?
Ma'am.
Who
is it? It is Pepperidge Farm. Pepperidge Farm.
Who owns Pepperidge Farm?
Let's find out.
I feel like it's Kraft.
I feel like Kraft owns everything, right? Who owns Pepperidge Farm? Okay. Campbell Soup Company. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known. Now you know.
Yeah. I feel like they're Pepsi. I feel like they're part of Pepsi. I don't know.
Campbell Soup Company? No, they've got their own. They're their own company. They just own a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know Pepsi owns Lay's and all those other stuff the chips and stuff. Pepsi owns like a ton of stuff.
They do. Yeah, all these corporations own way too much these days, and it's the Roxon Corporation. Nice reference.
They all like hide it too. It's like because they keep the same brand, but you don't even know like who. Like it's like the whole HBO Max like Discovery thing. People are like, oh, like Discovery, like it's it's AT&T.
There's a bad etiquette crunch on stream.
No, it's fine. AT&T, AT&T like still owns them. They just like spun it off as their own entity, like as a separate entity from within like their own corporate structure, but it's still owned by like AT&T. At least the way weird. I was reading it all.
They do this stuff, and it's time to like, do some antitrust, but nobody has the will to. Nobody has the will.
Yeah. We there's no more Teddy Roosevelts.
Mm-mm. Well, there's so much lobby money involved in even in movies and all that. Yeah. Like people don't realize like the lobbying money for movie productions for all this stuff is just like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars just going through to these politicians' hands. So there's no will on the part of the actual government to like do anything about these sort of monopoly things that are going on. It's sad.
Yeah, it really is. The state of our society, like we usually do our black pill streams, so we definitely know how
the black pill. I know I've seen you change the title of that. I always want to roll in and be like, stop being black pilled, everybody. There's great things happening, and we could talk about that and be happy. But it is oppressive out there. Yeah.
Yeah. But the reason why we have it called the black pill is because it's like for me, I think I treat it as like an what's the word? It's like oxymoron is not the word that I'm looking for, but basically like people were saying like, oh, you're black pilling us all, and like how terrible like entertainment was, and it's like, yeah, our entertainment that's true, our entertainment's crap, but at the end of the day, I think because it's going to be so bad, there's always that. Obviously, I'm a Christian and Catholic. I always believe that there's that light at the end of the tunnel that like
there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's a holy book.
Yeah,
we can all all pray towards, and it's Cyberfrog.
Yeah, no, I don't pray to false idols, but I know you're joking, but
yeah,
just gotta put that out there. But yeah, I see we got some other folks in the chat. St. Michael of Sigario is here. Speaking of saints, I'm not really sure if there's I don't know. Is there really a St. Michael of Sigario? I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up because I looked up Pepperidge Farm, so I might as well do the same.
What is Sigario? Dead is telling us, woke comics don't get that comics are a visual medium. If I want walls of text, I read a book.
I don't see anything. I got a bunch of like cigar shops coming up for this.
Okay,
so,
that's what I would. Yeah. They'll probably tell us. Yeah, dude. Did you see it was a 2016 comic. I don't know if you watched my latest ultra cringe modern comics, but it was a 2016 comic. Days of Future Past #2 or something like that, or Future Days of Past #2. And
see, they try to trick you with these titles because you're like, oh, I remember that. I remember the Days of Future Past. Let's look at that. Yeah. And then they get you into something weird. I'm sure. What did they do?
There's this whole page of so Kitty Pryde and Colossus have two kids, a boy and a girl, and the boy doesn't know that he's Kitty Pryde and Colossus' son because he was raised by Wolverine or whatever, I guess. But they've met up and like they just like survived a sentinel attack or something like that, and then they're like cracking a joke to try and like get their spirits up, and like Colossus comes over and is like, jokes are bad, jokes are what led us to this, like jokes are what caused tyranny, like jokes are terrible, and he like just goes down like this like literally a slippery slope argument about cracking a joke about like how like not everyone should be a parent because they saw someone like being a bad parent at like one point in time, and they just go through all of this like how like laws are enacted that like stop people from being parents.
I have a horribly inappropriate joke that like is not okay for your channel. Would you like me to tell it? I warned you in advance that's not okay for your channel, but
yeah, so
I will tell
it.
Anyway.
Probably not. Does it got like? So is it just like, is it language or is it like what is it?
It's not. It's not language. It's not language. It's not sexual. It's just over the line, I would say.
Okay. Well, no.
All right.
I'm really trying to do
my
better.
channel at some point. I'll do it.
I'm really trying to do better. You should be doing better. But yeah, dude, it's absolutely horrible. It's literally, I think it took me like 2 minutes to read it like out loud.
If you think about the culture in 2016 too, like they were all flipping out because meme culture was really starting to get big. The Pepe thing was really like flipping them out. Remember even Hillary Clinton was giving speeches about freaking Pepe the Frog, right?
Yes.
It was that ridiculous. And I'm just sitting here online just going, you gotta be kidding me, right? So that's where these writers are coming, and you know these guys never get off the internet. They're just sitting like Dan Slott's just sitting there going like all day on Twitter, right? That's all he does. And so that's their perspective. That's their life. That's what
I always like question. I was like, how do these people have time to like write comics when they're tweeting like every 5 minutes? Like you go through their feed and it's like, and it's like, when was yesterday? Like I can't find it. There's so many tweets.
They don't. Did you see that? It was on Disney Plus. It was like a creator interview show or something like that.
We covered it, the Dan Slott thing, but I haven't watched
the Dan Slott thing. The whole episode was about how Dan Slott like they did bits like where the editor was making fun of him, yelling at him for not working, and Dan Slott would be like, I need to write my deal. Like his bit was, I need to write my like 10 pages today. And then he sits there at his keyboard and he's like, twitter.com. And he's like, and he actually like, they actually like so just savaged Dan Slott because he actually totally lives his life like that for real. So, yeah.
And yeah,
you know what?
I mean, you hear that. And to me, like, it's hard to even be angry. It's like, you just pity that person. You want to pray for them to like, for me, I want to just pray for them so they like get their life better. And stop living like that, because it's just not a good way to live.
I would love for all these people to come hang out and just be happy and like just enjoy comics and actually like comics with us, but it's never going to happen, unfortunately.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, there's so many great independent creators now, and the industry's ostracized so many people. I mean, they're ostracizing. I mean, at this point, like on the financial level where they're screwing just their creators to begin with. And that's the problem, is there's so many people who are dying to write Spider-Man that like they can just like bring in people and then churn through them like they're, you know, like they're garbage. And so, but if you look at the top tier talent, like James Tynion, like Scott Snyder, like Jonathan Hickman, and these are people who are like left wing. I mean, they're not my favorite writers or anything like that. I mean, they can tell a competent story, but you know, they often put like the weird homo agenda into their books and things like that.
Definitely.
And it's like they're going off and they're doing their Substack thing now, and they're just saying peace to these companies and checking out also. So they're losing the talent on their side. They've blacklisted everybody on our side. And it's to the point now where we're really on, like, at the beginning stages of like this independent revolution in comics, where I really think, like, I mean, I know we were talking about this in 2018, but that was like the proto of what now is. It's so much bigger now than it ever was. My readership's like doubled and tripled. It's just out of control now. It's awesome.
I saw a post from Tim Lim the other day. He said that he's getting massive amounts of readership in Japan on Common America.
Yeah, very cool.
Said his like #1 readership off of like Kindle is from, they're all from Japan.
I get a lot of which makes sense actually for that book. I get a lot of UK readership. I don't know why, but I do. So, and you know, God bless them. I love you people in the UK who read my books. You're the best.
Yeah. So. We have we've got a bunch of people from Australia, I know, usually show up in the chat. I haven't looked at our readership in a while. For location wise, maybe you should look it up. It's for the most part, like, it's obviously US, but we do get a bunch of people from UK and Australia, and then I know we get a couple of people from Japan now because we started covering like some of the anime stuff. I wish we could cover more of it. Our big problem there is just the language barrier, and that's a huge barrier. It really is. If you don't have anyone that can kind of like really translate that stuff and kind of hunt that stuff down, that's like our biggest setback there. Because I would really love to just do a lot more. With that, that's something I have been like actively trying to do more of and keep doing more of it, but we just seem to like we're just missing like a key component still.
And now Joe Bennett's on our side too. That was a great story you broke yesterday.
Yeah, Vox sent me that press release, and I wrote that up. That's the first thing I did yesterday, and
Twitter
I was
is
pretty
flipping out about that. Flipping out, it's amazing.
I think the Bounding account is blocked by like everyone, so I don't really see a lot of that stuff anymore. Unless someone like sends it to me and it's like, oh, look at these people like going crazy or whatever. Because there's other things to write about.
The person who runs the parody account that is totally not me, because I'm banned on Twitter, and I would never do anything like avoid a ban, isn't blocked by anybody. It's actually kind of refreshing. I can see everything now. I mean, that person can see everything now. So it's I get forwarded a lot of stuff by this person, and it's just fantastic. So starting a new account, there is something to be said about that. Yeah,
you'll have to maybe pass on that information to me as well. Or you get into that, whoever that guy that's passing it on to you, tell them to pass it on to me as well. You know,
I will. I'm gonna I'll make a little video about it this afternoon, and then I'll shoot you the links of the screeching. So.
But yeah, Chuck, I don't know if you saw our like last article that I just put up like right before we went on, but Chuck was talking about he just did his Ask Chuck Dixon videos, which are absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't watched them,
they're great.
Recommend you watch those videos, because not only does he usually like talk about something pertinent to what's happening in like in comics, but he's also gives you like, he has such a vast knowledge of like the history of the medium and how it's evolved, and like he'll also like give you tidbits on like what he was thinking about with like a lot of the stories he did back in the 90s and the early 2000s and stuff. So definitely recommend his channel. But he was asked a question about whether or not like DC or what needs to happen for DC or Marvel to change, and Chuck was just like, they're both on like they've created a suicide pact among themselves to kill.
Yeah, they have. They need to look. It needs to burn to the ground and start over at this point. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, you know, the people who are in charge of the creative content for these companies are just not interested in anything other than their political agendas, and it's just become painfully obvious at this point. Oh, and not only that, they're not, like I said,
it's getting worse.
Just before this, they're not taking care of their talent, and so the talent's going off to greener pastures. Hey, Jay Lee in the chat, thank you for saying hi. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and Hong Solo, it's here as well. And Dead, I guess, is from Germany. Awesome
Nice.
that we got some folks from Germany as well. Yeah, I don't know if you saw I don't know, the cringe one. There's also this Captain America Infinity series because Marvel and DC are both. DC is literally just putting stuff on webtoons. Marvel has created this like Infinity. They're using their Marvel Unlimited app, and they have their own like webtoons style comics called this Infinity line. And in the first Captain America Infinity one, he's literally so there's people in a bar, and like this is how bad the writing is. These three guys are saying like something racist, like that's what it says, like in the caption.
Oh God, no
like,
way! That's so cringy.
It's like the black balloons with like the white lettering or whatever, and something racist. It was from like that like what they did with Bohr, where he was just like something misogynist, blah blah blah, like anti-Semitic. It's like, what, dude? This guy's like a Norse god. Why would he be even like? Why would he care about that stuff? Like, what's going on? And then and so like Captain America like picks a fight with them. He like flicks like a mini cap shield that he like created at like out of like a beer bottle, and then he goes over and like violently grabs the guy's arm, like tells him to get out and like don't say that again, and then threatens them with more violence if they start talking. It's like, what are you doing with, like, that's not what Captain America would ever do.
It's really bizarre. They've made like somebody making quote like a racist comment or something like a worse crime or sin or something than murdering somebody or raping somebody or assaulting somebody. And in fact, it's gone to the point where it's like, well, they said something racist, I'm totally justified in assaulting this person. It's like, wait a minute. Like, somebody like saying something you don't like is not a justification for physical assault ever. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's it. And you will, at least, you know, when we had America, I don't know anymore. But at that point, like up until last year, at least, if you went in and like that happened and you beat the shit out of somebody because they said, I don't know, the N-word or something like that in a bar, and they didn't attack you first, you know, you're going to be the one going to jail, not them. You know,
right?
You shouldn't do that. You should not beat the shit out of people. I'm sorry to swear. I didn't mean to swear, but
it's okay.
But you should not assault people. Bottom line, that's a bad thing. And to have Captain America like initiating, like violence,
he was assaulting the guy. He grabs the guy's arm, clenches, like squeezes down on it, and then
you should not say things like that. You know, it's like, oh my gosh.
Terrible. Yeah, Shinkai says it's called having a thick spine and self-control. That's not to say you can't go up to the person and be like, "Hey, I think what you're saying is wrong." I think I think you can do that. You can go up.
That's reasonable.
There's like, you don't go up and like grab his arm and like, I'm going to beat the crap out of you if you ever say something like that again.
But on the next part, now I'm just really getting into the weeds of this, but I'm just like, if they put quote something racist in their like dialogue balloons, why didn't an editor go on there? Because this is freaking Marvel Comics, right? They have editors. Yeah. Why didn't an editor go on there and be like, hey, why don't you actually like write what it is supposed to be that these guys are saying that's quote bad? Because otherwise the audience can't really connect with this, and you're breaking the fourth wall, and it just pulls readers out. Because it, like, if somebody was like, you know, you Asian blah 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 or whatever, you know, that's a reason to maybe strike up that conversation, like something racist. I mean, you're just what's being said. You
don't know.
Terrible.
You have to imagine it. And for me, when I see that coming from like, and the way that the rest of the comic is handled, one maybe thinks that it wasn't anything racist and it was just something that he didn't like being said.
Oh my gosh.
So because like the villains are the Sons of Hancock, and they've actually like taken over like part of Independence Hall, and like Cap is like doesn't even want to go into like, he literally doesn't want to go into. Yeah, it's that. He doesn't want to go in. They get Cap. So after he leaves the bar, he gets a briefing. The leader of the Sons of Hancock is this guy named like William Travis. The description of him is like he's a mix of Trump and Tucker Carlson like combined. Like he has like Trump's kind of history, and he kind of looks like Tucker. They even give him like the shaggy hair that like Tucker kind of has, and then like when they're described as like bigots and you name it, that's what they're called. And then
I just wonder, like, I mean, whenever I see anything like that, anybody who has any sort of like brain whatsoever has to just roll their eyes at it. And it's just like, they can't possibly think they're influencing people with this for real. Right.
No, I don't think you are either. Like when someone like, I actually like when people come at me with some stuff like that, I'm just like, what was your goal in like tweeting that to me? Were you like thinking you were going to like convince me of your opinion like that you're right? Like, cause no, you're not. So, I mean, I guess the guy's getting paid to write it, I guess. So
yeah,
I guess he's getting something out of it.
I mean, if you look at the pay Marvel gives to their like lower levels, that's rough. So yeah, they shouldn't be allowed to do that, but whatever. Okay.
I haven't seen the last like numbers on what people are getting paid. What like the last thing I saw was like Jim Zub like back in like 2017 when he was like breaking it down on his blog. And it seemed
it's still pretty bad. Like I mean, companies like I don't know Marvel exactly, but I was talking to people at Valiant back in 2017, and they're like, you know, even like almost every artist we're paying like about $100 to $120 a page, and this is wow. You know, these like, and this is the same you'll get at Dynamite. This is the same you'll get at IDW. Like, it's just like right in there. And he's like, you can get top tier talent for that. And when I heard that, I was just like, wow, this is like, I mean, you know, I could see that on an indie level, and that's kind of what I'm like. I guess that's why I can compete with you guys, because I'm paying the same thing to my artists, right? But for a corporation like who has like a major property who like, you know, is making movies out of this stuff, I mean, that's absolutely absurd. It's the amount of hours that it takes to make a comic page. I mean, let's say they put 10 hours into it. Let's call that 120 divided by 10. That's $12 an hour for like Louis LaRosa, Thomas Giorello level talent.
I know those are
crazy.
Like, the talent that Valiant had was like phenomenal. I'm actually,
it
was really sad just to see like, cause when they first rebooted when they rebooted Valiant, I thought that was the best superhero stories out there. Like it was better than what DC was putting out. It was better than what Marvel, like by far.
By way far.
Yeah.
And they like, sold to the Chinese.
Yeah. I was just looking at the numbers and like, I was just like, man, do people just like, what are they doing here? These stories are like phenomenal. Like, I guess people were just buying into the brand, but definitely seems like people are, I mean, they don't even show the numbers anymore because they've all
since the switch over, since the sale to the Chinese. I was always very interested in Valiant, and John and I go back about Valiant. Valiant's like a small comic company that started in the 90s, and then they got bought by Activision, the video game company, and so they kind of shifted more towards video games, and their comics died off, and then eventually they went out of business, right? And what happened was those properties went up for sale in auction in like 2011 or something like that, and this like. Dude, like this like collector dude who like collects like slabbed comic books. Like, I mean, I've seen some of his stuff, and he's got like X-Men #1 slabbed, and I'm just like, dude, you're a baller. Dinesh, yeah. He just rolled in with an investor group and just like snatched it up for cheap, and then just like brought in like awesome top tier art talent and actually really good writers like Matt Kinn. And, Jeff Lemire's not my favorite, but I know a lot of people really like him. And I liked his work. I liked his Bloodshot too.
Yeah.
So Robert Vendetti also, just top tier writer. He's never done wrong from what I've seen. So they were all on there, and they just ran it, and it was awesome. And then it was a play to try to build up that brand again a little bit, so that a movie company would buy them out, and that happened. Chinese movie company bought them because they needed to park their money. DMG then fired everybody who was associated with it because they didn't want the people like who created the brand to get the credit. They just wanted them to own the credit. And Valiant just tanked within a year. They hired Heather Antos. Yeah. They hired people who just like couldn't like their art now is. I'm like, okay, John, maybe I'll get back into the review game again, and I'll review like Exo Manowar for you for bounding into comics. He sends it to me, and I'm just like, oh God, it's so bad. I can't even review it. It's like that level bad. It flipped like a switch. It's really sad.
They are trying to do some kind of blitz. They've got some like board game crowdfund that they're doing.
Are they? I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Like okay.
I didn't run a store, but let me see.
Maybe make your comics better. I don't know. Look at this.
I don't know. Yeah, here it is. Tabletop game revealed. Yeah, let me see. I'll share the screen. I'll show you the email.
Tabletop game.
There we go. The Fight for Dead Side.
Master it's Dark like a Shadow Man game.
Yeah, Master Dark has assembled his army in Dead Side. Only our heroes of the Valiant universe stand a chance. Co-op 1 to 4 player tabletop game coming soon to Kickstarter. From Sin Fung Lim.
I wonder if it's just like a reskinned like something else, because a lot of these games like just like kind of stamp their properties onto like things that are kind of established. Like Valiant tried to do I'm sorry if this is like kind of boring, but they tried to do a deck building game. I'm really into board gaming also. And so I pay a lot of attention to that.
I know you do that. Hold on, but this looks like old art. This looks like
it does. That's the pre-2017 art for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
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 It looks like Andy Diggle's around there from what I remember. Yeah. And they did like a deck building game before, and it like there's a lot of deck building games out there. Like it comes from the game was called Dominion that started those games, and then I actually worked on lore for a game called Star Realms, which is very similar. And so there's a lot of that stuff, and you can just kind of reskin those to like there's a Star Trek one they put out fine, and it was it was lame, and it was just Star Trek. So Valiant did that too, and I feel like that's probably what they're doing here. I mean, everything they've done for their company has just been such low effort, like generic branding, like they're just like waiting for a movie to get made or something like that. But they just promoted the guy to marketing director, Greg Katz.
They did have a movie get made. It was called Bloodshot, and
I didn't mind it,
dude. It
was all right.
It was a 2008 like superhero origin movie.
It was no worse than Shang-Chi. How about that?
I haven't seen Shang-Chi, so I don't know.
Okay.
And I haven't seen Black Widow either, so I wouldn't know.
It was no worse than Shang-Chi. I'll go on record there. Yeah.
My big issue with it is that he's literally not. He doesn't look like the character at all.
He doesn't
in the entire movie.
No.
The only time he does, he's like going through he goes through like this dust cloud, and then he kind of looks like it. But then after that, he's not like that anymore. And it's like you didn't even get the character right.
Yeah, but Vin Diesel has to look like Vin Diesel.
I guess.
My brain.
It would have been cool. It would have been really cool if he like actually like painted his skin white and had the red circle. Like,
yeah,
I remember going to the cons. They literally had a guy that they paid, I think, to dress up as Bloodshot, like walk around the cons that I went to. So,
oh well, what can you do? Nobody cares about Valiant. I'm sorry. Sorry for that deal. We do, but nobody else does.
I do. I like. Yeah. I really think one of my favorite comic runs is it's called The Valiant. It's a 4-issue.
Oh, it was beautiful. Great
miniseries. Absolutely great villain in The Immortal Enemy. Which is basically just like the devil or sin, whatever you want to call it.
Have you followed the Bad Idea Comics train wreck also, which is train wreck for a different reason?
Is that the new Dinesh thing?
Yeah. So Dinesh, who owned this, brought all of the Valiant creators over to his new deal, and it's all the same people. Right. Like you got exactly the same.
All of them, yeah.
And the comics are great. The problem is like getting the comics. So
first distribution problems.
Yeah. Well, first they were going to distribute them themselves. To be fair, the company's called Bad Idea. So
right.
It's not like they were telling you it was a good idea.
Right.
But what he did originally, it sounds pretty interesting. He identified that like indie like comic shops in general don't carry indies. They only carry Marvel, DC for the most part. So there's only 200 different comic shops like in America that carry indies at all. And of those, like 100 of them are really where indies flourish only. So he identified all of those stores, like and made those stores his stores only, and we're only shipping to those stores, right? Seems like a pretty reasonable idea. Well, he upped that to like 150, like right before the first release, but like they had already gone to print run for it, so like they didn't fulfill their orders all the way, and like they were promising second prints of things. And of course, that pissed off all the collectors and stuff like that. So the first issue that came out of it, which was called ENIAC, was a single issue, not a variant cover, nothing. went up to $130 on eBay, like day one.
Wow.
So I ordered these because I was going to support Dinesh and all that, and I'm excited to read all of them and get all that. I was like, I can't sit on this. It's $130. I just paid $3.99 for this. Like I'm never going to get a profit like that on anything else in my life, right? So I sold mine on eBay, and it became a speculator game. And then they started doing weird gimmicks with things, which sound fun on the surface, but they're a nightmare to administrate for comic shops. So the first person to come and buy an individual issue from a store, like they're trying to get people in line like it was the 90s, gets like this first customer button, which is exclusive to whatever book that is. And they just made people get that for a while. Well, last month they announced that like, oh, we've got these 2 books by Matt Kinn, and you can only get them if you turn in a first person button for them and mail it to us.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
They were trying to do that crap with Valiant. They were trying to do that.
They did back in the day.
Like, I'm not doing that. Like,
no.
Like, in order to get like the it was like the origin of their universe book or whatever.
Right. I remember that. That's right.
What's his name wrote? He's got like 3 names. I can't remember his name. Fred Van Lente wrote it.
Yes.
And you had to like mail it in or something like that. And
they did. Like, they had weird. But what they did with that, they kind of did it with like variant covers and things like that with the old company. They're doing it with full books that like you can't even get this book. It's not related to another book. It's just its own story, and you're just not going to be able to get it. And it's just like, what the heck? So the stores I talk to, they're just like, this sucks. Like, 1, we're not getting all the books we're supposed to. 2, like, it's to sell 5 copies of a book. Nobody cares about these indie books for real. Like, I have to jump through all these hoops with distribution shit like this to sell 5 copies of a book. He's like, as the store owner, that makes me $5. It's like a buck profit per book, right? He's like,
right.
I spent hours on this, like, and that's that. Like, it's obnoxious. So it's pissed off a lot of store owners. And then next, they did another thing like this where they didn't tell anybody ahead of time. And they were like, okay, there's this book called Passive Aggressive. And what they ended up doing, it's got the same cover on all of it. You can't tell the difference, but there's actually 2 books. There's one called Passive, one called Aggressive. And they shipped the West Coast Passive and the East Coast Aggressive. And you had to like try to hunt it down, and nobody like to get the full story. And they didn't tell anybody. It just like showed up in the comic shops, and everybody knew, like suddenly like was trying to figure it out that day.
I'm not gonna. That's actually, I kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, all this stuff sounds pretty neat like, as a concept. Yeah,
that's what McDonald's did that with like the Monopoly stuff. Remember the Monopoly?
Yes, they did.
Games?
That's right.
Like, you'd have to go. Like, certain areas would have the certain things. You'd have to go to the other part of the country.
Absolutely.
The other thing. So like, yeah, I've seen that before.
It's cute, but as a person who just wants to get my freaking book and read it, it's really, it pisses me off.
Yeah.
And then there was one other gimmick that they did. They did this
foil covers, stuff like that.
No foil covers yet. Mm-hmm. They had a book that was a one shot that they emailed. If you're on their mailing list, which you'd have to be on it to know this, 2 days ahead of time before it was supposed to come out. This book is coming out Wednesday. It's Monday. You need to buy we have instructed all comic shops to sell the book only that Wednesday and then return the rest of them to us for us to destroy them. So you have to buy it on day 1 or you don't get it. And that was it.
Destroy them?
Right.
Like, what?
So like they're trying to create collectors, whatever, but it's just like, holy crap, you're making it so difficult to buy books. It's fun. I guess it's fun. I'm talking about it, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's like, I just want to read the book, dude. Like, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could it's like the fact that they're doing that in such like as a short-term strategy. I think that could work in the long run if like your stuff actually like hits,
is
right?
Good.
Like,
that's the thing. The books are really good. I mean, they're by the same value. It's by Matt Kinn. Right. It's by Robert Vendetti. You're getting really good books, and it's like, and Louis LaRose is doing the art. It's the same people. Mm-hmm. So you get cool things, and most of them are on the ridiculous. Like Robert Venditti's books is ridiculous. Like it's literally like Texas, like this Texas oil company is like, we're running out of oil, and do we have ideas? And he's like, we're going to send you back in time so that you can stop the dinosaurs from going extinct, so that we can have a complete run of dinosaurs for forever so that they can all get buried in the ground and keep making oil for eternity. Right? So they send those mechs back in time to like shoot the asteroid out of the sky or whatever. And then they come back and like dinosaurs have overrun everything and they have to like fight dinosaurs in modern times.
Yeah. That's what I was like, okay, yeah, so you're going to be fighting T-Rexes now. Like,
yeah. It was
fun. That's fun though.
It's pretty fun. It's great.
I like well, it's also that I mean, not to get like philosophical, but it also like is that the idea that you have this like you have like good intentions and they end up being like terrible or like ends up
and that's the thing. They have intentions of like, you know, they're playing around and having. Dinesh has money because he sold Valiant, so he's having fun and he's creating fun that like feels like '90s fun because that's what you used to do. You used to like clip things out of the magazine in the '90s and you'd get an exclusive half issue from Wizard. Remember that they do the half issues, and you'd have to get the Wizard and you'd have to clip it out and send it to get that issue. They did stuff like that back in the day, and it was kind of fun. But they've taken it to a level where it's like it's really hard to get the books a lot of the time, and that's I think there's a fine line there. But it's almost got me like, since it's working and they're selling out of everything, like, should I be doing that with my crowd funds and do weird gimmicky things like that? I don't know. I mean, maybe I should.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. Like, how is it? I mean, well, the one thing too with your stuff is that I assume you're going to be putting future stuff on ArcToons too, so people would be able to read it. But you'd have to change that relationship, maybe. I don't know.
It just depends. I mean, maybe I do an exclusive book or something here and there. Just I'd have to try one out. So my next one, I'm trying out something different, which is just going to be I'm going to run like a 2-week campaign, no in demand, and I'm just going to like the options are paperback, hardcover. That's it. Like no frills, just like a super limited book that's just going to come out real fast. I'm going to deliver it real fast, and I'm going to try different things and see what works now. We've expanded. Dave's Book killed it. So
I've got mine. I haven't opened it yet, though. It's still in the.
Is that Chicago Typewriter behind you?
Yeah, Brandon's
nice. Book. I love that book too. It's a good book.
Yeah, it's. I'm actually really excited. I've seen what he's been doing on the follow up. He upgraded the art. The art.
Oh, good.
It looks like he upgraded the art a lot, and I'm excited to see what he does with the second book. I talk to him a lot because I'm always asking him like crypto stuff. At least when he's not banned from Facebook,
right? Which is often.
Yeah, I usually like look at his Facebook. Like Facebook just gives me notifications for his stuff all the time. I don't know why. Maybe because I read it all the time just to see, because I like following these crypto updates. Like you'll like, all right, he usually posts like 3 times or 4 times a day. He's probably my friend that posts the most on Facebook. Most of my friends like don't post at all on Facebook anymore. But so like you notice when
it all sounds neat if you're aware of what's going on. That's the problem is you turn off casual people, because casual people at that point like, oops, I missed it. I guess I don't care about this. And there's something to be said about that.
I would have never even heard of Bad Idea if it wasn't for you. And
I'm the only one. I'm the only person going off on it. So I don't know what. Yeah. Oh man. But I'm upgrading art too.
That's up to.
I got
you're upgrading art too.
So I got blacklisted by Jethro from my Flying Sparks book. So if you guys have been around, that's annoying.
Ghosted you. Especially if you paid him and he didn't finish.
Yeah. So if you guys aren't aware, I've been working on Flying Sparks for a number of years with this guy, Jethro Morales. Bounding's covered it several times. Thank you, John. It was my first crowdfund book. It crushed it. We've done 4 volumes of it, which is 12 issues so far. And then I've got a 13th issue in the can, and I was going to get a 14th issue, and I started paying him for the 14th stuff, and he just stopped responding. And a couple weeks go by, I'm like, hey, Jethro, what's going on? Are you busy? No response. A couple weeks go by, Jethro, you shouldn't ghost me, man. Like, just tell me if you're like busy with Dynamite or whatever, because he's working for Dynamite. That's fine. Like, I'll fit in between projects or whatever. Just like, let me know. Nothing. And then I'm like, dude, like, it's 2 months has gone by now. Like, what's going on? We've been working for years. This is a guy, like, I mean, I didn't think there was any sort of issue possible with him, because like 2 or 3 years ago, he's like, my car broke down. I can't afford to fix it. My family is blah, blah, blah. He's got little kids. And he's like, can you front me for the next issue? And I did. And I'm just like, yeah, I want to take care. I want to make sure everybody's taken care of,
Right.
who works with me. And so, I mean, you thought when you have a relationship that good that like nothing would really sour it. But then I wake up one day and he's blocked me. And I'm like, oh, somebody got to him, because he's working at Marvel now. He's working at Dynamite now. Not allowed to work with the Comicsgate guy, right? And that's unfortunately how it is. You see Joe Bennett, how he just got savaged the other day, and just destroyed for no reason. I mean, it's the same. This is what they do.
They went after him for a political cartoon that he did in 2017.
It's ridiculous.
Which was like, it was just like, I've seen way worse. Like, it was like a guy on a horse. I didn't even get sword. Like,
I didn't even get why it was like offensive. Like, I was like, what's offensive about this?
I don't know. Yeah. It was just like to me, it was just like any kind of like politician, like defeating his political enemies.
His enemies. That's all it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
oh well,
I didn't get it.
But the thing is, we're all hit, and if you're working with anybody, or you know are counting on somebody who's like really trying to get in with the mainstream, once they take the ticket, it's over. And good relationships don't matter. Good pay doesn't matter. Good friendship doesn't matter. The fact that I paid them in advance for pages they hasn't turned in doesn't matter. It's just out. And so we're getting a new artist, and he's gonna be an upgrade. He's gonna be better. And I've got somebody very exciting doing the cover who I'm not naming names at this point, because it's like, I know better. Like if the name is known, somebody's gonna DM them and be like, did you know John Delarose is a racist, homophobic, Trump supporting Catholic? And that's gonna be the end of that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not naming names until things are done and complete 100%. But yeah, we're gonna upgrade as well. So Chicago Typewriter's getting an upgrade. We're getting an upgrade. Vox is getting an upgrade with his stuff with Joe Bennett working for him.
Yeah,
we're all on the
Vox's
this is the year of
stuff
comics.
has like radically improved from when I remember when like Alt Hero first came out, and the artwork like was like not very good.
Yeah. That first issue was really rough, but
it was real rough. Yeah. It was real rough. But Alt Hero Q looks really good. I really like the Throne of Bones. That looks really good. And then Midnight's War looks fantastic. The Were Jaguars are pretty cool. I just like the Midnight's War though. I have to like it's written like, I feel like I know Chuck has done some scripting on it, but it's written more like a novel. So I have to like go back, because like I'll like read it. I read it in chunks. Like I don't read like every issue every week. I'll like read like 5 or 6 or whatever. So like, all right, who is this guy? Which faction is he on? Like I got to go back and like.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That's the problem with comics. I was talking about this with somebody else. Like I stopped reading single issue comics completely like years ago. And you always see me talk about omnibuses and things like that, because I love the full story chunks now at this point. I just got Witchblade.
Yeah, they don't write them.
And this is like the first 25 issues of Witchblade, and I'm just like, I just get to plow through it. And when you have a continuing story like that, what do you got?
I got Gary's. It's gonna fall. My bookshelf is getting too full.
I have the same problem.
I picked up
Rebel Dead Revenge.
Yeah, Rebel Dead Revenge.
Loved that book, and I was glad to get that, because I read that in issue form when it first came out for the first couple, and then they stopped doing. Vox was just like, nope, we're just doing the whole thing, and I was so glad, because I forgot what had happened even when I read the first couple issues from when I picked up the volume. I'm just having trouble with that at this point, and I'd rather just read a complete story. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my problems too. Like they don't, like if you go back and like you're reading all the omnibus, you go back and read those old stuff, they're all like self-contained, and a lot of them have like 4 or 5 different self-contained stories in the books, especially like the Golden Age stuff. They're all like anthologies or annuals that they do now, where there's like multiple.
It's great. Yeah.
Same one, and they're all like self-contained. And now like the way they write them, they're all written for the trades. and it's like, well, I'm with you. I don't really like. I'm gonna buy a full book now. I'm not gonna buy like a single issue. So I just
it's
like
it's
I'm
tough.
Gonna
And
to go back.
I was talking to a Brazilian publisher who's working with Arcade, and he's putting out my books in
Super Prumo.
Yeah, you know him. Super Prumo. Yeah. Great guy. And
just did an interview with Joe. I have one of the guys.
Nice.
Yeah, some guy who's in our group now. It's like translating it, so I'm gonna have to go back and look at it and see if I can use anything with it, because apparently he was gonna like really like lay down the tell the truth about Marvel.
He's putting out Days Volt in Brazil for me, and translating it to Portuguese for me, which I'm very excited about too, because it's my first book I've ever had translated. But awesome. I started talking to him early on because he's like, well, what do you have? And I'm like, well, I've got Flying Sparks. He's like, a serialized like superhero thing that's like, it's a story that's keeping going. He's like, that doesn't fly outside of America. Like, you got to understand, like Brazilian comics, French comics, all that stuff. To some extent, but you still get a 200-page volume out of manga, right? Right. So it's a little different.
Well, when they first release it, though, it's chapters. So like they release.
In Shonen Jump, that's true.
Yeah, in Shonen it's released weekly in like chapters.
But that's true. Weekly's pretty fast though. Like that's really fast.
You still remember it?
Yeah, exactly. A month or two, and you'd get delays to 3 months. Then I don't remember things at that point, right? Most Euro comics are one and done. You just get your store, and I've gotten very big into Euro comics from reading that stuff lately too. But I kind of agree with that model now. You might want to use the same characters, but I think having a full story that's done in a volume is just better for the reader. So
I have Blaze is doing all the Euro stuff with the Conan that they can't call Conan.
Oh, the Sumerian. Like those are so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love them.
And then they're
you
doing
turned me on to those, didn't you? I think you did. I think you told me about that.
Yeah, because they were sending me stuff, so I was running articles on those because I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
I was like, that's Conan and it looks cool. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna run it. They send me stuff all the time still.
And hey, Lord Thoth. Is that how you pronounce that? Thoth? That's tough to say. I don't know. Let me know how to pronounce that if you can. Yeah, the Sumerian comics are awesome.
Yeah, they're really good. I do have to get the Frost Giant's Daughter because I think it wasn't available in a collection yet, so I got to get that one because they were.
I'm waiting for the hardcovers. So they have their single issues, and then hardcovers are just 2 issues.
I get the hardcover too.
I like those too. Yeah, and the Frost Giant's Daughter's been like adapted into comics like 3 or 4 times. Like they love doing that one for some reason.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with that because I know that the guy that has the Conan, the Robert E. Howard estate, he just sold to what was the company called? I don't know, Funimation or something like that, which is owned by the Chinese Tencent company.
Oh, so interesting.
They've got like a Conan series they're working on with Netflix that they've actually had meetings and they're writing and stuff they're developing. And then they did have
Disney doesn't own it?
No, not yet. They do have the license for Marvel, obviously, to put him in Marvel.
That's what's kind of odd, yeah.
So, but they're also talking about like doing a Solomon Kane thing too. But It looks like they might be doing more like video game stuff because that's what they're like. Funimation is a more like a video game company. So, I heard that the Marvel's. I did hear the Marvel stuff with Conan was decent. Like the Savage Sword was okay, but
I got like Jason Aaron's stuff from a few years back, and it was okay. I mean, I until something's out in like a oversized hardcover or omnibus, I'm not even looking at it. I don't even see it. So
yeah, but, it was. I'll still buy trades. I bought I got the Star Wars Legends trade here.
Yeah, especially for the old stuff like that. Those are fun. Yeah. Back when it was extended universe.
All my like single issues are all at my parents' house. Like in boxes just sitting there. I don't even they're just sitting there now.
A lot of people don't know Star Trek had an extended universe too. And it was not as popular as the Star Wars ones, obviously. But they did the same thing. They continued Deep Space Nine. They continued The Next Generation. Riker got his own ship, the Titan, and they ran all these books for almost 20 years. And I guess they're closing them up now. So they're running one last trilogy that's coming out in September,
IDW.
October. Yeah, no, books.
Okay.
IDW has done a few comic tie-ins to it,
Right.
but not so many. Most Star Trek comics are tough, and because if you keep the spirit of Star Trek, it's mostly just like people working things out diplomatically and with dialogue,
right?
And that's really boring in comics. So it's it really is.
Chuck was kind of talking about that in the video. He was asked about Dune, and he was like, I couldn't get through Dune. And he was like, there's two different types of like science fiction fans. There's the people that want to like have all the action and you're going into space, and then there's the people that want to like have like the palace intrigue,
right?
And the more like philosophical like stuff. And he's like, I like the action, like, which it's Chuck, so of course, right?
Yeah, he's Mr. Action out of anybody. Yeah,
I did like the they did like a Green Lantern Star Trek crossover. That was pretty decent.
Yeah, that was very good. Yeah. But that was action oriented again, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you have freaking like Khan coming back, getting a red ring. He destroys what's his name? Oh my gosh, what's the red guy's name?
Sinestro? No,
Sinestro's yellow.
Who's the freaking
like
Red
Mortis or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. The Sentinel says one of the reasons the Star Wars expanded universe was superior to the Star Trek extended universe is because the EU was constantly monitored to make sure everything was in continuity. Trek ignored it.
Well, Trek kind of like didn't have its own continuity in the shows really so much, or in the movie. I mean, even that
like
is iffy. And so the book writers actually of Trek actually were pretty well gelled together with the EU. It didn't start out that way because they weren't even sure they were going to do that for real. But once it got into like 2005, 2006, 2007, the writers really coordinated pretty well together, I thought, on the Star Trek end. Just Star Wars has always been a bigger property at the same time. So.
Oh yeah, way bigger. Yeah. Bunny with the keyboard says the older you get, the less action you need, and the more you want story. In my experience, I mean,
depends.
I still like action. Just as much as I did when I was a kid, but I also want it combined with a story. Like, I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
I can't do senseless action, right? But I still like action.
Like Avengers Endgame scene where like the females are just like that's stupid, like stuff like that. But when you're like leading up to a major fight with a villain, like, you want that.
I finally almost caught up on Star Trek. I'm halfway through season 2 of Discovery now. I guess that's 3 seasons in. And so I'm almost there. Man,
is your brain okay?
Season 1.
Did you suffer an aneurysm?
Did you see the Red Letter review? That was making fun of it.
Maybe
they did one called like Discovery Season 2 in a nutshell or something like that. And they're all in the uniforms, like standing around. And they stand around and they're like, wow, we're going to science the heck out of this. Yay, science. Yay. That's the power of math. Yeah. And like they never actually go into what they're doing. But they just keep saying like stupid I effing love science phrases like that. Like that's exactly what Discovery did. It's just like, wait, how are you magically like creating this like wormhole to an alternate like crystalline network of whatever immediately that you can travel at any point in time? And how is all this happening? Like, you can't just like magically do things like that. But they do. So and then there's really like, and then they managed to make it. They managed to make that stuff really, really so fast, like the technology things that they come up with so fast that it like kills your sense of disbelief. But on the other hand, they like the rate of progress of the stories is so slow because they try to keep that whole season arc through 15 episodes that it's like, holy crap, like the pacing is just off on every level. And that's before you get into the fact that there's no characters to like. So, yeah. I mean, I was just like, I like how you paced, you
you paced Deus Vault. Like I like the I like how he gets like he sees the vision of like the demon in the beginning, and he's got he kind of falls for it, and then he's got to like it leads up into that action moment, and then he meets like she's like a kitten or something.
Yeah,
cat girl. Cat girl, yeah.
Everybody loves cat girls.
And you have like I like how you kind of like slowly build to like the confrontation with like the what is he, the Demon King or something like that? Yeah.
You don't want to blow it too early, and but also like you don't want to drag it out too long. I mean, it's a very fine line. So yeah. Cool.
All right. Usually try and keep these at an hour. We're at an hour now, and it's 6 o'clock my time, so it's dinner time, and my baby girl is looking at me over there.
Nice.
She's like, I'm gonna get you. So we're gonna call it. Thank you for joining. Great to have you on. Always good to talk with you, John.
Of course. Yeah.
Cool. We'll have to maybe do this sometime soon. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back with another open discussion on Monday. There will not be one tomorrow, and then obviously we have our Black Pill stream on Wednesdays at 9 Eastern. So thank you all for joining us, and hope you guys have a great weekend.